I am Hans and this is my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Today we are going to be going over a little bit of cool tech. Very cool tech. Very, very exciting and cool tech. I'm super stoked. I got my hands on one of these early and I got my hands on the mod as well with the lens. So this is the max lens with this GoPro. Just gonna go over it a little bit, tell you a little bit about it, my first impressions, kind of the difference between this and the 8. We're gonna get started with that right now. Let's go! So I absolutely love my Hero 8. I use this thing all the time. I actually do a lot of videos for my channel on this. I've done comparisons to this, to the ZV-1, and it actually does a really good job. I think it's an amazing little camera. It works great, and the stabilization is absolutely insane on this thing. It just blew my mind. When they said that the 7 was the hero or the gimbal killer, I don't know. I didn't really go for it. It wasn't really that great, and a lot of the stuff that they showed actually had post-stabilization put on it when they released that video for the 7. Now this, on the other hand, is what they were trying to do when they released the 7. I think they did a killer job when they had released the 8, and I was super impressed. And now with this, I'm even more impressed. I haven't had a really big chance to use this. We're in Bend and it's super smoky, so we just haven't had any good weather to go do anything fun with it. I did go play with my dog and we played a little fetch just to kind of get an idea of the different modes and things like that. Who's my good doggy? Go. So the biggest difference right out of the box is you're going to be able to tell it's bigger. You got a front screen on it and you have a bigger screen on the back, but it is bigger, it's heavier than the 8. So the 8 was a little bit bigger than the 7 and the 6, and now the 9 is bigger than the 8. But what you're getting out of it is incredible. This will shoot 5K. This little camera right here for $349 if you do the trade-in, I think it is, it'll shoot 5K. That's crazy. It's got the best stabilization. I've got my Sony a7 III. It's pretty good stabilization. It's not bad, but it's nowhere near like if it was on a gimbal. This is a gimbal killer. You do not need a gimbal anymore with this camera. I'm sure it would help. I mean, if you were in a situation where it was really bumpy or whatever, wherever you were, a gimbal's never going to go away or be obsolete, I don't think, but this is getting really close to destroying the gimbal market. I hate to say it, but it's true. The reason that this is so big, one of the reasons, is that it's got a bigger battery. And if you look at the inside of this camera and how big it is, and then you look at the battery, they really just wanted to give you more power, give you more time on the camera. So I think that having that bigger battery, you're supposed to be getting a much longer shooting time. I did shoot some 4K 60 and it really burned up the battery quick. I had like 35% and like within 7 minutes I was done. So I think that depending on the shooting mode that you're using is how much it's actually going to be draining the battery. So if you're shooting 1080 60, it's obviously not going to drain the battery nearly as fast as if you're shooting 4K or 5K. 4K at 60 frames is a real battery sucker, and then 5K at 30, I imagine, is going to be just about as bad. The claim to fame with this one is this lens. So this is the max lens, and it does, you can pop these off. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. This thing just twists off just like this, and it pops off. So you can see that thing, and there's some grooves right in there. And we're going to set this down, and then you'll see this one. Sorry, get some light on it. This one has those same grooves. So we want to make sure that we put this on the right way. And we're going to push these two together, and then we're going to twist it just like that, and that's on now. So this is the Max Super View. I think that's what they call it. It's the Max Lens mod right there. And what you get with this is the most stable shot that you probably are ever going to get with an action camera today, right now. I'm not saying these aren't going to get better, because I know they're going to continue to get better as we move forward. But with this one, in the wide mode, using this, all the shots that I've seen online have just been just amazing. Buttery smooth, really, really nice.
Armageddon is real, but so is Hero 9 Stabilization. Welcome to the world of Hypersmooth 3.0. It's gonna get weird out here. Run for your lives, people. Run for your lives.
So a lot of people are really excited about this lens, and I am too. I can't wait to go out and get some more footage with it. Let me just kind of run through a couple of the other features. It'll do 4K at 60, like I said. I was kind of hoping that we were going to get a little bit more frames per second out of this new one, just because it is bigger, and I kind of expected a little bit, but 5K, I mean, what do you expect? We could do 2.7K at 120 frames a second. You could do 1080 at 120 frames a second. That's kind of a big deal. I mean, as fast as we are getting this technology out, I mean, 4 years ago, that would have been absolutely unheard of, even on a bigger camera, unless you were to go out and buy a Phantom or something. The other big thing that people are talking about on this thing is that horizontal lock. It'll lock the horizon, so you can turn the camera like this and it'll keep your image nice and straight. And then when you break that 45 degrees, then it'll start following. So if you're doing some kind of twisting shot, it'll kind of keep it level, and then it'll, after 45 degrees, it'll come around. And that's really cool. And when you have it with the max lens on it, it actually will rotate the whole entire way around and keep your shot locked horizontally, because the lens is so wide, it's able to do that. That is a big game changer right there. It's got hyper smooth, which is doing hyperlapse, which everybody knows it used to be really hard to do that, but it really isn't anymore. Anybody can do it. You can just walk with it and you can get yourself a really nice hyperlapse. I'm going to try to go out in the morning tomorrow and get some more sample shots and do some of these other shots so that we have something to look at, but for now, you're just going to have to take my word for it. The other really amazing thing about this is it's got timers. So you can set it up to turn on at 7 a.m., get a sunrise for you, and then turn off at a certain time. That is really cool. So if you don't want to get up to get a time lapse, you can set it up to be on a time lapse. You can set it up to turn on right when you know the sun's about to come up and be on for 20 minutes or whatever while the sun comes up and you get your time lapse, and then you go pick up your camera wherever you left it and you got a time lapse. You didn't even have to get out of bed. Kind of cool. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is Hindsight. Hindsight is a super great idea, and it's been around for a while. Like the Phantom cameras used to use this, but basically it's always recording. And when you have it set up on there, no matter what you're doing, if you don't have the button hit and you see something that's happened and you're like, oh, I don't want to miss that. If you hit the record button, it's going to capture up to 30 seconds in the past. So it's always kind of recording, and then when you hit that, it's going to start saving 30 seconds from your past. So it's kind of like a time machine. GoPro, time machine. They should have called it that, time machine. Oh, Apple would have been mad at them. All right, anyways, it's a sweet camera. I really can't wait to get mine so I can actually go out and use it. I have to return this one tomorrow. I'm going to try to get some shots. So GoPro has been around for 16 years, something like that. I'm sure that they've been in the process of building cameras, but they've been selling cameras for about 16 years. In 16 years, they've gone such a long ways. I didn't have all of them, but I was an early adopter. I've been using GoPros for quite a long time. Obviously, this is an action camera, but for the size and what they've crammed into this thing and what it's able to do, I am really, really impressed. I do like this bigger screen on the back here, and I love this front-facing screen. A lot of times I'm doing this just to kind of show somebody what I'm talking about and talk about whatever it is, and I'm trying to get myself framed up, and I pretty much get it. I can see where I'm supposed to be. But having that screen there is actually going to be really helpful just to kind of make sure that I'm not like too wide or too narrow or whatever, and it's going to eliminate a lot of work I'm going to have to do in post to get my shot to look the way I want it to. I mean, overall the build construction is pretty much the same as the 8, other than the fact it's just a little bit bigger and heavier. It definitely, you can feel the difference, especially with that mod on there. But you can see the difference right there in how they look. Can you see that? Can you guys see it? Can you see it? Would you look at it? So do I think it's worth spending the extra $350, $450, whatever deal you end up getting for this camera? Yeah, I do. Absolutely. I already did it. Mine's on the way. So that's my take on the Hero 9. Get one or get two. Whatever you want to do. Thank you guys for watching. If this video was helpful at all, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button for more content like this, and you will see me in the next video.
Let's go!